Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. That is Jay Foreman. He is our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. And my name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska. Jay, we got a quarterback to break down.
Right, yeah.
Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims, a transfer from Georgia Tech, has committed to Nebraska, and we are here to maybe show a little film to some people who might not be totally familiar with who Jeff Sims is. I know it's an ACC school on the East Coast that many might not be watching every Saturday. So we got a couple plays of Jeff Sims just to give some fans an idea of what he's all about. But Jay, when you first saw Jeff Sims commit out of the transfer portal to Nebraska to Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, first of all, he's a phenomenal athlete. I remember watching a game, Georgia Tech, when I think he was a freshman, and he burst on the scene and he had a couple good games, but it was a nationally televised game. I think it was, at Miami, and he really took over the game and really was doing well. And I was like, wow, Georgia Tech actually has a quarterback of the future and build around. A little bit of injury history, but he's a problem for defenses, where at that point in time, he was passing the ball pretty well. I think they even had a receiver go to the NFL, had a good running game, and he fit in quite nicely. And then his ability to work off schedule and get out on the edges and break down defenses, even if they had the right defense called for not only a spy technique, but then also, the coverages, he was able to make plays. And so when he was on the radar, when he came in for his visit, I think a week ago, I felt like it would be a good match considering when you're guesstimating what type of offense Matt Rule might try to run in the first couple of years. And, the worst case scenario, if, Casey comes back and ends up starting and then, he's kind of, the 1B quarterback or he's the 1A and Casey's 1B, you're giving opponents a lot to think about and a lot to worry about because he is a problem when healthy as far as being an athletic quarterback. And he has a good arm. And just needs a little bit of fine tuning, and then the passing game will take off if he gets that coaching and gets his fundamentals right.
Just a little bit more on Sims here. 6'4", 220 pounds. I've written this multiple times. He's the guy that you put in the aisle of the bus, and he's the first one off the bus. First one off the bus material. He's just a great looking athlete, a massive, big arm. This guy is like put together. If you are building a quarterback in a lab somewhere, it would look like this person would look like Jeff Sims. So a little bit about him at Georgia Tech, almost 4,500 yards passing through the air in 3 seasons. He was a 3-year starter. He started 23 games through 30 touchdowns. But then again, that's the thing that we're going to need to work on that Nebraska maybe needs to develop because he has 23 interceptions. 13 of them came when he was a true freshman. So maybe we need to cut him a little bit of slack there. But look, I mean, he's got all the tools that you want, and we can go through it right now. And let's just start by showing fans just the kind of athlete. And the kind of athlete that we're talking about here is someone who can take a zone read, a handoff, and just do the rest himself.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the formation that you saw down at South Carolina and that you most likely and Baylor as well from Matt Rule's offense. So, when they're looking at guys in the portal, they're looking at, okay, is something comparable. So now you see what he's going to do here. And you look at him, just jumps off tape. He's about the size of a defensive end, where he's got the speed to go to the house call where he's out running angles and, getting a 30, 40-yard gain, explosive run play. And look, when he makes his mind up to where he wants to go, he goes from point A to B as good or as fast as anybody. And it's a problem when he get, look, I know from a defender standpoint, that's a guy that I would have to think about and worry about because even though you see linebacker right there, one half misstep, it's a 30-yard gain. The 32 was right there, and I'm pretty sure. Look, he's a Division I player. You knew he was coming there, and one false step. Right there, a little hop step by the linebacker. You kind of get caught up in the wash. He's supposed to be right there waiting for him. Whoops, peekaboo. There he goes. And you know what? Most players, most quarterbacks, 32 would be able to make the tackle. 57 would have been able to make the tackle. Number 8 would have been able to get him out about the 40. Well, now you see he's out at the 25. That's 15 more yards as far as an explosive run there. And all he needs is a little bit of a crease. and they're not even getting a hand on him. And so that's the type of ability that he brings in the read option game. And look, here's one right here against Clemson, a nationally known prominent defense that he's giving them problems. Gets out on the edge right there, runs physical, runs through another tackle, right? Makes a guy miss and gets another 2 or 3 yards. And that's what also another attribute to where just because he's 6'4", 220, you think like, oh, he's, slight built. He's well put together. He's physical. He's tough. And he's strong too, as far as when he's in the run game. And when you're doing this against a team like Clemson, that not only at this point in time is one of the better defenses in the nation, if not the best, but well coached, disciplined, and physical, where you see a lot of NFL guys out there and he's making a miss. And I know it's just one play, but you see the reaction by the coach there, the guy that jumping up there. He had a pretty good vertical there for the coach. He knows when you have a young quarterback right there that's making plays, that keep him in the game. And up until this point, Georgia Tech was hanging right there with Clemson. Sims was a big part of that. It's early in the third quarter, so they're starting off the second half. And Clemson knew at halftime that they were going to get a big dose of Jeff Sims, and they still couldn't totally shut him down either.
Yeah, and one thing that we wanted to kind of bring up is his injury history. Now he's a guy who can run, he can throw it, but when he runs, usually, Nebraska fans know this. When you have a running quarterback, they're taking shots, and the defense, kind of tees off on running quarterbacks.
Right.
And, with Adrian Martinez and the injury history, and,
right.
It just lends itself to the possibility of your starting quarterback being hurt and not playing. And,
it's a risk.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about it. It's a risk reward when you have such an athlete like this, but I think part of coaching him and getting him to be a better quarterback is knowing when to take the shots and when not to. And sometimes when you're a young quarterback, look when you're just athletically gifted like this, yep. That's a play right here. Then I'll be like, Mr. Sims, I need you to slide right about now. There's nowhere that you could go that would be productive. Those 2 yards that you got, especially at the beginning of the game, wasn't earth-shattering. And yes, you wanted to get the first down, but most likely you weren't going to get through 3 guys. Now, you might have been able to do that in high school, but this is the big boy league. And so it's a maturity process. It's learning how to play the quarterback position, along with the fundamentals of passing the ball and stuff like that. But when to take a shot, when to be super aggressive and go for it. And this isn't the time to do it. And so this is what they're going to have to teach them, because your best ability is your availability. And if you're not available, you can't reach your potential, as a quarterback or as an offense.
6 games Jeff Sims missed in 2021, his second year of starting because of injury. And then last season, 2022, he missed 5 games and wasn't even with Georgia Tech's team in the final 2 because he left the team to take care of his foot sprain. It was a bad foot sprain.
Right.
And he left the team to focus on rehab. And I think his time had just kind of run out at Georgia Tech. Time for a new scene, that whole thing. So injury history with Jeff Sims. But again, like you said, Jay, it kind of comes with the territory when you're an athlete like that and you want to make things happen on the ground with your God-given talents. So that was the running portion. Let's go to the passing portion of Jeff Sims now. Look, big arm, huge arm. Right. These things are on a rope. You watch Jeff Sims. I mean, he lasers it in there. Right. And so let's Jay take us through this one. I thought it was a pretty good completion on kind of a low high kind of concept here.
Yeah, one thing I like about this right here, again, it's comparable. It's 2 by 2, and you run a little bit of high low combination right there where you can run that against cover 2 or a sinking corner. You read the depth of the cornerback, and you got to fit it in there between the cornerback and safety, right? It's a cover 2 beater. It's an aggressive throw. And it's right on the rope. It's first of all, it's only where the receiver can make the play. It's on with the right trajectory and speed and velocity to where the safety can't make a play on it. And when you see that cornerback hesitate, I like the timing of the pass too, right? He didn't throw when he was completely open. He read the depth of the corner. He knew that the receiver would be there and was in between the corner and the safety, and they were one missed tackle or keeping his balance for that being a house call. And it also tells you that the offensive coordinator is confident in him being able to read coverages and make this type of throw, because you're throwing this ball backed up here, 2nd and 10. the defense knows you're going to have to throw the ball, and you still complete it into that tight window right there. Look at that, in between the safety and the corner there. That's a pretty aggressive throw, and if the receiver was able to keep his balance, he would at least got another 15, 20 yards. So right there, it's a good read, or easy read, but I like the passing. I like that this is more about his trajectory, his arm strength, and his ability to fit it in there in a tight window. So as they're, looking at him, they know the running ability. They know that. They knew that back in high school. Mm-hmm. Now you see the ability to maybe, put some route combinations together, and you saw that route combination when we did the breakdown potentially of what a Matt Rule offense was like back at Baylor, right? Flat, and they ran a bang 8 there, but that's a nice little skinny seam route there, or a go route in between the safety, in between the corner. It was a really good example of his arm strength, but also his football acumen as well.
And let's skip over to another game. This one comes against Duke. This is a 18-yard touchdown pass from him. Again, this thing is on a rope. He knows where, it looks to me like he knows where he's going with the ball, maybe pre-snap. Right. But look, when you can fire it in there and you're confident, let it rip, right?
Yeah, look, you have no backs in the backfield. So what that is doing is it's getting to what you're trying to do is dictate the defense, or make the defense show their hand earlier, whether they're in man or zone. And then generally against, no backs in the backfield, teams are only running a couple coverages, right? So now he has a pre-snap read. Now all he needs is Duke to essentially make that pre-snap read concrete. And when he is confident where the ball's going and he knows where it's going, you see it right here. I like him throwing it, getting to his back foot and throwing that thing on. I mean, that's a laser beam right there, right? Yeah. If you look at his drop right here, right? Look, quick drop, 1, 2, 3, boom, knows where he's going. Look, the trajectory, the spin on the ball, the accuracy on the ball is phenomenal. Put it right on the numbers where it needs to go. Oof. Again, what I like about it, he's not throwing to where he was at. He threw to where he should be and was going to be. Yep. So therefore, you saw the safety coming down. It's kind of like the first route we saw, right? Where he's throwing it into a tight window. This is what's appealing about a quarterback like this. Athletic, big, strong. And when you get him, locked into where he needs to go, and you can sometimes do that by formation, shift, or just by, route combinations. The corner didn't really have bad coverage. Number one, the safety was right there. He fitted right in there to the receiver. And look at it. This pass here, you'd like to be thrown right on the hash, right? Because it's a little bit of a skinny post. Some people call it a bang 8, but look where it's going, right on the hash. That's where the ball needs to be completed. Offensive coordinators usually tell their quarterback that's where the ball needs to be. One, because of the coverage cannot be there to intercept the ball, and it gives the receiver enough time to catch it in between the corner and the safety. The reason why I know this, because that's where, when we game planned against quarterbacks or passing combinations, that's what they told us, this is where the ball is going to be. And the accuracy of this ball, the trajectory of this ball, because if it had too much loft on it and the trajectory is too high, it allows the back safety to make a play on the ball. The ball is at the perfect height to the receiver that's going to catch it. And it's the trajectory that the body type of that receiver needed in order to make a play. So there's tons and tons of positive from it. And I'm sure this is what excited Matt Rule and company about having him come in.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, over 4,000 yards passing in 3 seasons there, 30 touchdowns. Those were 2 pocket throws inside the pocket. Now let's take a look at him kind of throwing a nicely placed catchable ball on the run, I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, this is day and age. This is what the college football is about, and they call it throwing off schedule, getting outside the pocket. You see Patrick Mahomes and all the good quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, making plays, outside the pocket. But look, it's one thing, let's just take it. It's a trips formation. Again, a formation that they're familiar with when they're scouting a quarterback. The running back and the tight end doesn't do a real good job of this cat blitz coming off the corner, nickel blitz right here. But guess what I like? I like the pocket presence, right? Avoid the pressure, avoid away from the pressure, right? He's escaping the pocket. He's escaping the throw first, not run, right? Now, I like the matchup. We already seen Sims against 32, right?
Yeah.
But look at him. He's escaping the pocket to throw the ball on the run, and he's throwing it to where the place where the receiver is the only one that can make a play on the ball. It's a good play by the receiver right here, but it's thrown up the sideline. Good one-handed catch right there against tight coverage. And you know what? The receiver is the only one that can make a play on the ball, or he has to play defense, but it was set up by Sims keeping his poise, right?
Yep.
Not doing the immature, and not the immature thing, but the young thing is just tucking it and run it. But he was rolling out to throw it. And most likely, if that wasn't out there to be completed, he would have threw it into the stands. And so that's what you like. This is called playing the position of quarterback, right? He's a superior athlete, but he's not just a running quarterback. So he's able to get out on the edge and then throw on the run off schedule with accuracy and efficiency. And efficiency in a play like this is making sure that there's only one person that can make a play on the ball, right? And that's the Georgia Tech receiver, or he has to play defense or throw it out of bounds. And so, again, this is another example of, I'm sure the coaches are looking at and they're like, yeah, we can work with this. And we know he's a great athlete, but when you see something like this, you want to get more consistent about it, more efficient. And they feel confident with their coaching and their system. You can see more plays like this regularly. And I like what I've seen in these, few highlight plays what Nebraska could, possibly have at the quarterback position.
And at his in his 3 seasons, Jeff Sims, I think, was around 57, 58 completion percentage for his whole thing. So you'd like to see that maybe a little bit higher, but it's all right, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good starting spot. You definitely don't want anything lower, but that could, definitely be boosted up. And you got to say, okay, well, look, you're at 57, 58, 59%. We need you 62 to 64%, and that could be, again, better talent around him, more efficient offense, a better running game, and having an emergency outlet against the blitz or zone blitzes, because look at a team like Clemson, they're known, they're going to bring pressure first of all by their front four, but then if they decided to heat up, like they like to say on defense, a young quarterback to get him off kilter and confuse him, you need to make sure that there's safety nets out there. So playing against good competition like this, it also puts them up there a step ahead. That you've been playing against one of the best defenses out there in Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami and Florida State, where they're going to have big guys that can run comparable to the Big Ten. And so for him to be a matchup problem for some of the best defenses bodes well for him being in the Big Ten as long as he's healthy.
In our final clip here, I really, really loved this throw from Jeff Sims. Again, it was a high-low read, a guy going out to the flat, and their big 6'7" wide receiver doing that bang route like you said. Yeah. Again, this is a concept that we saw with Marcus Satterfield at South Carolina. It's a popular concept, but boy, this ball was put on the money.
Yeah, you got a reduced formation here in 12 personnel, and you got a big receiver right there. So then you have to change the trajectory of the pass, like compared to what we saw before. But Clemson knows what's coming. It's a flat 7 cut, and it's thrown again with great accuracy, great timing, and it's efficient. Efficient to me is to where the big receiver is the only guy that can make a play on the ball. Like, again, this is generally a pylon route, right? So it would go to the back pylon. But when you have a big, tall, physical receiver like this, you can throw it a little bit shorter because of the catch radius. But look where that ball is dropped in there. You see quarterbacks at the end of practice throw it into buckets. It's thrown into the bucket right here as far as where the accuracy of the ball is. Again, back foot, hits his back foot, a couple hop steps, and look at it, just ease coming at it. It's coming out of his hand and arm, his arm strength with ease and accuracy. You see that ball, good spin, high, right? And I always talk, I like quarterbacks that can change the trajectory of their passes based on who they're throwing to, right? Big 6'7" guy, you want to have a little bit more loft and a little bit more of an outside type of pinpoint with it, so he can use his catch radius, and that's where it's at, right? Right up there in the middle of the end as far as with Clemson, and with pinpoint accuracy, and where the receiver is the only guy that can make a play on that ball, right? They're going against a smaller corner. The timing of it's good. The read is there. They're playing a little bit of a zone. So again, the zone beater, one is being 6'7". Number 2 is an accurate pass, right? Sometimes, there's just nature versus nurture, and nature is this guy, Jeff Sims, has a pretty good arm and a really good outside receiver right here, or a big receiver. And look where it's at, right there where he can only get it. Number 1 had decent coverage. He's getting up, asking where his help was, and it's the safety. But again, the passes between the corner and the safety, and these two are arguing with each other, It's all set up by Jeff Sims. They're trying to figure out what happened, right? Well, what happened was the quarterback dropped a dime on you. You didn't know what to do. And it is in between a soft corner and a safety, right? And so, again, he's reading the depth of this corner, right? A little hesitation by number 6, Jones, right there. If you see it right about there, the hesitation right there, he knew where he was going right away. And it's with accuracy right there. And look where it's going. It's going to where he was going to be. Yep. And it's dropped in there in between. That's not an easy throw to make because that's pretty good safety coverage right there. And generally in the red zone, you want your corner to play with a more depth and play high or deep to short because you don't want to give up the touchdown. You want to make them complete the underneath pass to the first down. And so he read the cornerback's depth, and it's good. And this is a lot of stuff that you saw from Marcus Satterfield in South Carolina, but then primarily a lot that you saw from Baylor's offense when Matt Rule, had that 11-win season. So, I think it's a guy that fits potentially into their, offensive scheme. I know that, he's a guy that's, if he probably had to be the number one dual threat quarterback in the portal. You see the athletic ability, you see how dangerous he can be in the run game, and there's a lot of potential in the pass game. So the earlier that he gets in here, get the work in and getting to competing is better for the team because, throwing the ball is going to be the thing. If he can get his accuracy and get that completion percentage up to the, low to mid 60s, that offense is going to be able to be rolling a lot faster than if he stays right where he was at. So, I think the coaches are excited about it. They wouldn't have offered him if they didn't think they could, get some positive results out of him. So now the real work begins. And now the interesting stuff starts to happen. One of the biggest things here when you're trying to build a team is quarterback position. You have the kind of, not the wild card, but the East, Casey Thompson, what you got it if he decides to come back. And then you got another guy in Jeff Sims where he has, he's played. So now you have two guys that you feel comfortable health-wise or if healthy that they can lead your team to victory. So now you're able to fill some other spots with it, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in these next 48 hours.
And those other spots that are going to be filled, we will be there to break it all down whenever it comes. So yeah, Jay, thanks again. I had fun. This was a fun one and a really interesting pickup for the Nebraska Cornhuskers at quarterback with Jeff Sims, a 6'4", 220-pound dual threat quarterback. So with that is Jay. I'm Steve, and we'll catch you guys later.